Selfish question, because you made me think to ask you this now while I got you. Free consultation right now.
If you keep doing that your whole life, you just kind of try to look like the for the best in the person potential and not act in your interest but more like in their interest.
Yes.
Eventually, like the good ones, they'll stay with you, and that's what forms my teams. And we have a hard time working together because
Yeah.
he's very domineering. His personality is like, I just tell you what to do, you just fucking do it, right? Like that's
Right.
how he is, right? And I'm like, I don't work like that, right? That is,
Right.
and he's like, can you like do that but in my company?
Right.
And I was like, no, I love my job. Like, why would I want to do that? You can't afford me, right? I had to take each manager outside to the park on the bench and like fire them one by one. So it's like so after that, my husband says, like some people, you know how some people will stab you in the back, like my wife will stab you in the front, right? So
Right.
that is
Yeah. Love it. That is amazing.
Headed to the top, there ain't none of y'all stopping me. Used to say I never get a ring, Charles Barkley. Now I got a wife, got kids, own property. Bubble eyed beans that look like that be watching me. Okay, I lied about the beans, but that was hard though. I'm still in that black act, but she starred though. Cause that's all it takes. I'm flashing for. I'm on my grind, not no more fashion show.
Selfish question, because you made me think to ask you this now while I got you. Free consultation right now.
yeah.
So did how do you go about like putting all of these systems in place, right? Because one thing for me to put together the system, I hire somebody to do the job, etc. Is running. I'm not having to physically do the work. But here's the thing: I can't go and license out, Clean Biz Network until we have the processes in place, right? The standards and procedures, the video tutorials, whatever, however we need to do it. So my question to you is, did you hire somebody out to do all of that stuff for you? Are you personally doing it? Is somebody on your team? How do you create those things as you start to scale?
Initially, I did it myself. Now I have multiple businesses and we are scaling them all at the same time. And so I have teams. So I have fantastic executive teams in each. It
Mhm.
took me, sometimes it takes like a lifetime to develop some kind of relationship like that. Sometimes it's almost instant. I can tell you like one of the funny stories, and as an example, I had an investor from Kazakhstan, no, from Turkey. I'm sorry, from Turkey. He reached out to me. He's like, I was watching your content, and content is a huge thing, as you know by now, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, he's like, I was watching. We feel like you're legit, so we want to invest. We want to do the whole like E2 license thing, but and so him and his team checked everything about me. Like they like did the full due diligence, looked at our tax returns, looked at all the financials, talked to us multiple times. And he's like, well, I'm still gonna come over and meet with you in person.
Yeah.
Right. Me and my wife are gonna fly over across the world because they were gonna buy auto dealership in LA in addition to as their main investment, and then a cleaning company as a secondary. So I was like, okay, come on over. So they flew in, and they say, like, we have a question. Is it normal that your hotels don't have slippers?
Mhm.
And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, we're staying in Hilton. It's a pretty nice hotel in Vegas, but there's no slippers. He's like, every hotel we stayed in Turkey and in
Mhm.
Europe has slippers and like a robe, right? And this one does not. I was like, how can we walk with our bare feet on this floor, right?
Right.
And I was like, listen, it's okay. I'm gonna like I'll drive up, I'll pick you up. We're gonna go to Walmart. You're gonna buy yourself slippers, chart, whatever you forgot, right? So
Right.
we and it became like a joke, right? So now it's the slippers is a code word. But I drove them to pick up slippers. I spent time with them. We talked. We became friends, right? I showed interest in like their life, like they're amazing. And then I
Mhm.
find out later that the guy used to be like one of the top executives in their home country ever. He won like national honor awards for being top manager. And
Wow.
so I'm talking to him and I was like, listen, you don't have to buy a license to if you want US, like, a right to live in US.
Mhm.
You US will take you if you're super talented manager or scientist or a performer or even a porn star, weirdly. But like there's yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like last year, that's what happened. But there's a talent visa that you can get. And I'm like, listen, like just hire a lawyer. Here's the lawyer. Here's her phone number, right? You will get. You don't have to invest with me at all. You can
Yeah.
become. You can be allowed in. And he's like, they actually flew by that time. They flew to LA to meet the other guy, and
Mhm.
then they called me from there. Like, can we come back to you? Like, we don't like the guy, right? We want to come back to you. I'm like, okay, coming back. So we hung out some more, and then he says, like, I still want to work with you. I still want to invest or do something. I understand I don't need it for the visa, but I still want to work with you. And I was like, if you really want to help me, right, be a manager, because all this licensee coming in, there's like a whole like circus. I need somebody to streamline it, like set up all the systems, make sure they're running well. I need somebody to not lose their shit, to be very calm.
Right.
And like that's how he is. Like his vibe is very calm. He's very analytical. He's very calm. He's kind. And so he's like, you got it. So I got him at like a fraction of what his cost actually is, right? He moved to Vegas with his wife. We all became friends. And he's helping me with this business. And he's still investing into a license in my other business.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's if you keep doing that your whole life, you just kind of try to look like the best in the person potential and not act in your interest, but more like in their interest.
Yes.
Eventually, like the good ones, they'll stay with you, and that's what forms my teams. And every company I run, I have these fantastic, amazing people who will walk into the fire for me because I would for them, right?
Yes.
And sometimes, a lot of times, I have for them already. So that's what allows me to scale and run multiple companies because
Yeah.
I have the team, they're on my side, and I kind of just tell them what needs to happen, and then we meet once a week, like an hour and a half for each company. We run it based on traction and the whole EOS system,
Hmm.
have them implemented. I also just recently became shareholder of the CPA firm as well out of LA.
Wow. Congrats on that. And so you were just killing it all around the board. And I noticed too, because you got it right here, American Security Screen. So that's another company that you have. So tell us a little bit about that and what that is.
Yeah, so the cleaning company is actually the smallest company I have, even
Wow.
with licensees, right? So
But that is the one that got you started first, right?
yes, it's my first business. I probably love it the most, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, after like 8 or 9 years, you don't like. There's the passion is not there, right? So to
Yeah.
speak, like you're like you're over it. It's the same
Yeah.
shit. Licensing is new for me. Like I'm learning. It's interesting. It's exciting. For security screens company, that's what my husband started because he couldn't. I feel like he was entrepreneur his whole life, unlike me, and he was already successful. He had like multiple exits, but as I started my cleaning business, he's like, first of all, don't even start it. Like, you don't know how to clean. Like, like they're all the immigrants, they own that space, whether it's dirty work, don't do it, right? And I was like, no, I'm still gonna do it. So, and then so as I started scaling and doing really well, like starting earning millions and stuff, he was like, we had a good laugh about it. And then he was like, I'm gonna start something else too. Like, what am I gonna do? Just sit there, like be like a sugar baby, right? So I was like, no, it's okay. Just calm down, like just relax, because you've been working really hard. And just take some time off. But he kept tinkering because he's an entrepreneur too, right? He's a true entrepreneur. He's always doing like starting some shit. Like that's how entrepreneurs are. And so he starts this security screens company. It's called Boss Security Screens, and it just explodes. Started dominating Vegas and then Southwest markets, one of the top dealers in the country for security screens in general. And what that is, it's like a stainless steel mesh, almost like an insect screen, but made out of super tough materials and gets attached outside of like doors and windows. So your home or school or whatever government building becomes like a castle. So you can't enter intruders. It even stops like small caliber bullets and like prevents entry into the property, right? So it's amazing. And the reason how we stumbled into it, I wanted that for our home, and that's because I'm a chicken, right? I'm afraid. So he ended up researching how to like where to get the product. He sourced it. He flew to the factory. Now we work with multiple factories with all the best features. So that company did really well. I joined it as a shareholder, as first as a consultant to organize it, to systemize it, then as executive, and then shareholder. So yeah, and then I decided to license that as well because people kept asking me about it, and
Mhm.
including my friends, including friends who own very successful cleaning companies. And when they asked like, why do you want to do that? They said like, well, because I'm doing like 2 million and have 50 employees, right, in cleaning, and I want to do 2 million with this business and have 4 employees. And I'm like, yeah, that is legitimate reason. So he ended up signing up as a licensee. So there we have Atlanta, Houston. We just started in Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio. So we're doing Texas right now. So I'm actually flying next week. Going to be all over Texas, starting up. And we rebranded it as American Security Screens
Hmm.
because it's going to be a very particular product, only single manufacturer, not multiple. So
Yeah.
we simplified everything and we made it into like people who buy a product are the guys who are like, oh, I have a rifle, I have a dog, like I don't need no police, that kind of guy.
Right.
So it's a kind of like ultra patriot, and so we, rebranded as American Security Screens, and it's more like the brand is more like it's an eagle, American eagle,
Yeah.
plus like a whole like Captain America vibe to it.
Gotcha.
It's kind of a fun thing, so that's what I'm doing as well.
That's nice. It sounds fun, and that sounds like at some point I'm definitely going to want to get some do some business with your company, right? For when I finally do settle down and buy that house that I want to stay in forever, gotta holler at you on that one for sure.
Which city is your home base?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do business there as well. I have to figure out what your construction permits are because I hear Florida is not very friendly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, for everything else, I don't know about this particular topic, but for everything else, we seem to be almost the same as
Yeah,
Texas from what I see. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
but no construction, it seems like. But I didn't look closely, so I'll figure it out because it's a very
Okay.
attractive market. Protects against hurricanes as well. So it's like
Nice.
hurricanes and intruders and insects.
Okay. You know what? When you said that too, you talked about your husband being an entrepreneur. I wanted to ask you this. I'm wondering, do you think that that's an advantage to be married to another entrepreneur? And the reason why I asked that is because, as an entrepreneur, to be a successful one, it's so much self development that you kind of go through as as you build as a person. And so I'm just wondering. I wonder, like, do you think it could be a hindrance, or do you think it's more of an advantage being married to an entrepreneur? Because we always doing something new. It could be a lot being with an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
but it also could have its advantages. So I'm wondering, would two entrepreneurs together be better or worse in your opinion?
For me, it really is better. As long as you have patient children, then it's fine. I think I
Yeah.
think what's funny is like I was talking to one of my coaching clients, and he owns this massive like lawn sprinkler company, right, in
Okay.
Michigan. And he was saying like, Elena, can you like tell me how can I explain to my wife? They have like four little girls, and
Mhm.
to my children that I'm doing it all for them. Like I need to explain that I'm doing it all for them because he's a workaholic, as most entrepreneurs are.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is like the biggest crock of bullshit, I've ever heard. Like, you're doing that for you. If you were doing
Facts.
it for them, you would have gotten a job, right? So,
Right.
so yeah. So, and I think naturally, he's like, like when my specific thing was like take your a wife out on a date, whatever. Like, but appreciate her for holding down the fort. But I think as if you have a couple who are both entrepreneurs, we get it instantly, like
Yes.
what the other one needs, and we kind of like support each other when needed. Like, hey, I need more ammunition, I need this, I need that. Okay, you got it, right? So it's sort of like we protect each other, we support each other, we complement. We have a hard time working together because
Yeah.
he's very domineering. His personality is like, I just tell you what to do, you just fucking do it, right? Like that's
Right.
how he is, right? And I'm like, I don't work like that, right? That is
Right.
not style at all. Like I'm more like democracy, collaboration,
Gotcha.
feeling good. So we don't work really well together. We can, but in terms of like living as a couple for both entrepreneurs, I think it works really well.
Yeah. I love. Did y'all realize that from the beginning, or did that something that you kind of grow into and realize, you know what? It's better if we don't work together as often.
We're still figuring this out.
Okay.
I think what's funny is like even back when I was a lawyer back in Hawaii,
Yeah.
he ran this big computer repair company,
Mhm.
network IT company. It's like a number one in Hawaii. And he one day he's like, "Can you?" He looked at my. I'm very organized, so he looked at my like personal budget, all everything was organized and clean and stuff. And he's like, "Can you like do that, but in my company?"
Right.
And I was like, no, I love my job. Like, why would I want to do that? You can't afford me, right? And so he's like, no, just like I can just come over and
Right.
do that. And so I came over and I knew zero about business, like
Yeah.
absolutely zero. I didn't want it. I hated the idea of being in business. I was like, and this is where a lot of people we kind of detrimental to ourselves because I was like, I'm gonna be horrible at business because I hate HR, I
Hmm.
hate accounting, and I hate sales. Well, it
Right.
turns out that's bullshit because I'm actually really good at all three, and I
Right.
should have not been telling myself that I'm bad at this, right? I just didn't know it.
Yep.
And so when I came in, I saw like they had a lot of issues in terms of operations, Like people didn't talk to each other. They have multiple managers, and they're like they didn't know what's going on in the company. They weren't terrible. They're just not. There's unsystemized chaos, right,
Mhm.
as usual. So I ended up taking the managers, and it was so funny because it wasn't funny. It was tragic because their office, they had a huge office and massive wall made out of filing cabinets, and
Mhm.
all the technicians were on one side and all the managers were on the other side, and managers didn't know what was going on behind the wall, and there's kind of, and they didn't talk, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then a lot of managers didn't even do their job at all. One was actually sleeping on the job. One was fired for a position that never materialized. So, and the company didn't have money to pay for that for all of
Mhm.
them, as you can imagine, right? And so, but they didn't have a private office where I could take somebody in and discipline them or do something, right? So I had to take each manager outside to the park on the bench and like fire them one by one. So it's like so after that, my husband says, like some people, you know how some people stab you in the back, like my wife will stab you in the front, right? So
Right.
I didn't stop. Like that's what the business needed at that time, which was the
Yeah.
correct. Even back, even like now, I understand that was the correct decision. They need to be like wiped out. Like their executive team did nothing except for like costed a lot of money and didn't contribute at all. And their workers were all depressed. We put them on performance pay, and they're just like double, triple their productivity overnight.
Mhm.
I hired, like, I promoted some of their other people into the management position. So it was a different question, but uh, it was I think we're staring at recession, and then my
Mhm.
husband made a deal. He's a deal maker, so he made a deal with one of the largest telecom companies in the states to open in each of their offices a little shop,
Yeah.
like IT shop, right? And which was a good idea, and it was a great deal. However, I came up to him. It's like, I don't know if we should be doing that because we're looking at recession, and it's going to consume resources, to fly all over different islands,
Yeah.
because Hawaii is, it's like a chain of islands, and like hire a person, pay for electricity, buy a desk. Yes, the rent is going to be very minimal, but you're still going to consume a lot of resources.
Right.
He looks at me, he says, I didn't hire you I hired you to do what I tell you to do, not to give me your opinion. So that was my first,
Yeah.
that was my first like foray into working with my husband. And I think he's much better now, but not all the way there. So we collaborate, but very carefully.
Nice. I love it. Okay. Now, and I do see I am pushing it on the time, so I'm gonna try to wrap the rest of them in 10 minutes. So I saw that you also purchased a carpet cleaning business. So I just wanted to see, like, are you at liberty to share like the details of that acquisition?
Yeah, absolutely. That it's a company called Carpet Monkey. It's in
Okay.
Vegas, and I've been collaborating. Remember, I told you about free marketing. So we
Yeah.
were cross-referring business to each other for years. They have 900 five-star reviews
Wow.
on Yelp, right?
That's
So
crazy.
it's
Yeah.
shocking, yeah. So they know how to clean carpets, and I've been using them in my homes, on offices and stuff like that. And then one day the guy calls me and he says, like, are you still getting and I've never met him in person. We're just like communicating by text usually, but he's like, are you still getting leads from Yelp?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, we do. He's like, are you doing okay? I'm like, yeah, we're doing okay. I'm like, what's up with you? And he's like, I don't know, we're dying because the Yelp just stopped sending us leads. And that was the
Mhm.
primary like source of leads. So he's like, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll close down the company. And I was like, look, don't close it down. Like, do you have database of clients? Because he's been doing it for 30 years. He's like, I
Yeah.
do. I'm like, how many? He's like, about 9,000. I was like, okay, cool. Have you ever marketed to your own clients? And he's like, no, I have not. I was like, okay, you don't need to shut down. You don't need to pay. Yep. I
Yeah.
will, like, we'll just fix it. Right. So I sat down with him and I took like literally, I think 500 contacts from his database, and we
Mhm.
sent him a text message offering carpet cleaning without even discount. Just
Yeah.
completely fill his calendar, and we did it again. We did it like 2 or 3 times, and he's
Wow.
like, "Oh my god!" Right? So that was great. And then afterwards, right around my time, that time, my partner is in cleaning businesses. Like, I want to like start a carpet cleaning because it's very complimentary, or buy carpet cleaning company. Ask him if he wants to sell. And
Mhm.
I was like, he probably does want to sell, but it's not ethical to buy a business that's like in dire distress, because I think it's attractive as in
Yeah.
terms of numbers, but it's wrong, right? So I'm like, let me try to help him first. And it's true. As soon as like he starts like kind of reviving himself and the sales, he was like, yeah, like I want to make it into a big company. I get it now. I asked him to raise prices because his prices were extremely low. He didn't want to
Mhm.
do it. But he raised it. He's like, oh my God, making a lot more
Right.
money with the same amount of
Right.
work. Right. So we kind of collaborated super well in terms of like a mentor mentee type of relationship. And then he approached me last year and he's like, could you buy my company? And I was like, no, because the company needs a lot of like systems built in.
Yeah.
And I don't have capacity personally because I'm already doing like all this other stuff. I'm
Mhm.
like scaling all my other business at the same time and my coaching business. And he said, but I'm a veteran. My lifelong dream was to buy this like property in Kentucky. I think he's from Kentucky. And he's like, and this property, it's my dream property is coming on sale, and I really need the money, and I really want to do it. So I'm like, look, put your company on for sale and this by sell, and you'll
Mhm.
sell about 400,000 or something, 500,000. You can get a pretty good price. Just clean it up a little bit with like CPAs.
Right.
But if I were, he's like, what if you buy it? I'm like, if I'm gonna buy it, I would buy it for much, much less, like a fraction
Mhm.
of the cost, because I understand how much work is gonna take from me and resources to get it to where it needs to be.
Right.
And then he's like, okay. So he comes back a week later. He's like, I still want you to buy it. Let it be a fraction of the cost. Like I only trust you. I want you to buy it. I said, oh God. So
Right.
so I asked so I was thinking like if I always tell my licensees, if not licensee, my coaching clients, if somebody put a gun to your head and said like figure out how to do it, how would you do it?
Yeah.
Right? If you're highly motivated. So I was like, how would I do it if I had a gun to my head, right? Because I
Yeah.
feel sorry for the guy. And so I was like, okay, so I can buy half the company with my partners.
Mhm.
So the risk is small because it's not going to be big investment monetary, but I'll take partners who are genius at their own like systems and businesses, all successful entrepreneurs. So I messaged some of my friends. I'm like, do you guys want to do it? Top like house cleaning company in Colorado, top house cleaning company in Phoenix, in
Mhm.
Arizona, and like a top operator in Michigan. He has a pressure washer company. So that
Yes.
these guys are super genius at marketing, operations, finances, and they all said yes. So we all
Wow.
put in about half the business, like half the other half is owned by that guy. And we originally founder. Now we're like introducing all the systems quickly. You can imagine it needs a new website, branding. Like we hired VA immediately. Like we introduced everything. We have like record sales already. Like we've only been doing it for a few months.
Yeah.
And the next phase will be once it's like up and making like $1 million, for example, at least, then we'll do like licensing franchising.
Yeah. Love it. That is amazing. So you basically just reach out to your resources, kind of pull some people together, and you just made it happen. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You just get better and better. I can't lie. Like, are you looking to start your own cleaning company? Or maybe you started your cleaning company, but you just need a support group, some mentorship, some guidance. Hell, a bidding calculator just to help you know if you're pricing the job correctly. Join us at cleanbiznetwork.app. That's www.cleanbiznetwork.app today and get on the right track with your cleaning company. We have everything you could possibly need to get you going in the right direction and see why we've been the leading cleaning business consulting company for the past 5 years and why they call me AJ Simmons the cleaning business GOAT. So I can help you just like I've helped and my company has helped thousands of other people start and grow their cleaning companies. Go to the number one source today, www.cleanbiznetwork.app. Thank you. We're going to skip the lightning round today too because you've been giving so much insight. And honestly, I just want to stick to the meat and potatoes on this one and just get all my questions in as best as I can before the time runs out. So, all right, now I guess my next question is, how do you manage to run multiple different companies?
Yeah, so I use the EOS traction system. I'm actually kind of thinking about becoming an integrator because I love it and I see massive amount of value in it and effectiveness. And I have really great teams. I do deliberately hunt for people who are fantastic. I do nurture that relationship. I do support them, and I do ask them to join me and to help me whenever I need to. If they're like for Carpet Monkey, for example, I knew I'm gonna need somebody really great at marketing, right? So I
Yes.
went to like the top guy I know. I was like, dude, you want to do this? And he's like, yes. And then I was like, okay, I need somebody who's really good at financing and like scaling. Same thing. I messaged him. He's like, yes, like sign me up, right? And then the last piece was, I'm like, all right, we're gonna sell the hell out of like carpets, right? But
Yeah.
and then we have somebody who's gonna clean them well, but we need like like software, like operations checklists, like all this other crap, like all the like production stuff, which I have no idea. I've never seen carpet cleaning machine like up close in my life. Like I have no clue. And so
Right.
I was like, who do I know of all the people? And I know massive amount of people in business, right? Who do I know who's the best, who's like a genius? And there was this one guy, his name is Caleb. He's in Michigan. And
Okay.
so I reached out to him. I was like, Caleb, I need you. Like, do you want to do this? And he's like, yes. So that's he was the last piece, and that's how we can scale this. Like, if you have a team like that, I'm a visionary. I'm like a CEO visionary role. So I don't. I just show up and kind of. I told them what I want, and they just make it happen.
Gotcha. Now, did you start doing a YouTube channel as well? I think I might have seen you on there. Perfect. So, what made you get into like YouTube and building a personal brand online and that type of stuff?
Yeah, it's a pretty funny story. My so for grow when we decided to scale house cleaning licenses, I realized that our customer avatar, partner avatar, is a foreign born entrepreneur who's still sitting there, sometimes has a visa to US, sometimes doesn't, has massive amount of capital and business expertise, but wants to move to US, right? And so when I went to I have a friend who does who's like a genius at content, and he's Russian. I from Moscow actually, and he moved to US a couple years ago. And I was like, hey, so I want to do this. He's a marketing guy. I'm like, what do you think I should do? And he's like, you need to have a YouTube channel in Russian and like Instagram in Russian. And I was like, we already work with you in YouTube channel in English, which I still have. Like, just convert it. He's like, that is not how YouTube works. You got to start from scratch. So we started like from zero last year, almost exactly a year ago, and he told me what to do. I would fly into his studio in Scottsdale, Arizona, once a month for 2 days. I bring like a bag of different outfits, and we sit down with the content, boom, 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 and then they cut it, edit it, put it out for like it's a month worth of content for my English and for my Russian channels. So the English channel we just started recently, but the Russian we've been doing it for a year, and I have like 83,000 followers there, which I think is really really good. And for especially for the amount of effort I personally put in. And then for English channel, I think I have like a 2,200 or something. And we just started investing back into it. I was like, maybe I'll do it more like a coaching and general personal brand thing. I'm not sure yet, but I think English it works super well. People like I will go. I'm like a celebrity now because it's a Russian. It's a small community of Russian entrepreneurs in U.S. So I'll go to any convention. And I literally cannot even reach the hall where they're reading lectures or something because people will stop me. I'm sure it happens to you too. People will stop me like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm Lizara." Like, and people like bought like almost all the licensees that enter last year, and like each license 75,000 to 100,000. So it's like you're talking like well over a million
Yeah.
directly attributed to content. So I'm
Wow.
gonna keep doing that thing.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
It's powerful. It's powerful.
It is. I always tell people like if nothing else, even if you're not good at business, still just post online every day and talk. Just talk about what you know so far because
It's hard
just
work.
having a personal brand, it'll get you a place where you didn't even know where you probably could get to. So just please, I encourage everybody to just get up there, put yourself out there for sure. All right. Now I got another one for you. So is there like a finish line? Like is it 100 million? Is it a billion? Is it what trillion, right? Like, do you have a finish line or are you just having fun with it?
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about 100 million a year. It was my
Mhm.
goal originally. I made a pact with my one of my really good friends in Vancouver. She's like a powerhouse too. We're like, whoever is gonna reach 100 million first, gonna take the other one all expenses paid trip to Paris, right?
Right.
And then like after pandemic, after like I also lost my mom a couple of years ago, and I was like, I started rethinking my priorities because I was like okay, I'm still ambitious. I was always going to realize my full potential. That's what my real truth. It's not a number. It's more like I want to be able to say like I used up everything that like was inputted into me originally, right? I don't have any more abilities capacity. I used it all out. It's like wipe out. That's what I was going for. And then after I lost my mom, I was like, like I spent some time with her in the past, and that was probably one of the best things I've done in my life. And same with my children. So I started thinking like maybe I should like just go for another 2 to 3 years, or like take all my businesses to cruising altitude. Because as you know, in cleaning business, it's a recurring revenue.
Yep.
Same with franchises, licenses, same thing. It's recurring revenue. The one thing I'm not gonna give up probably ever is coaching because I love doing coaching.
Yeah.
I'm actually good at it. So, but it could be done remotely and like on in my own terms.
Yeah.
So that's what my plan is. I'll go for another, like, I think it's going to take about 2 to 3 years to get it all up to that level where it's completely run by executive teams without needing for me.
Yeah.
And it's not a dollar amount, it's more like state of that business. Each
Yeah.
business has to be at a cruising altitude. And that's when I'm going. It's about 3 years. And then I'm going to be out in like southern France, coaching
Yeah.
online. So
I love it.
with my
You know,
family.
we have that in common. So similar to mine. Like I'm likely I probably will sell Clean Business Network at some point. I'll probably sell the company, but I don't think I'll ever stop. Posting on YouTube, giving advice, coaching people just for fun. You know what I mean? If nothing else, like just
It's
to
so
do it.
enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. I love giving back and helping. All right, I can't get all of my questions in. I see I already went over my time, but I want to ask you. Let me see. I'll ask you this one last one. I always ask people this one at the end of the interview, and it's this: if somebody's watching this interview or listen to it on the podcast, and they're thinking, I want to be like Elena. She's so badass. I want to be like her, but I'm scared to make that jump. What can you tell that person today if they're scared to make that jump into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, very good question. I meant to say you're so good at this. I'd like
Thank you. I've been doing it for a while.
you're talented, right? So yeah, so my life's my favorite saying and how I live my life is this. There's a Native American saying that when the thunder strikes, cows run away from it and buffaloes run towards it. And I always supplement it by saying, like, every morning I wake up and look at myself in the mirror and I'm asking myself if I'm a cow or a buffalo. And a
Okay.
lot of times I feel like a cow, a lot of times.
Right.
Yeah, I choose to run like a buffalo because I want the buffalo outcome.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my advice. Like, it doesn't matter how you feel. It's not about you at all. Just like run like a buffalo and you'll be fine.
I love that. I love it. All right. And then actually, I did lie. I got two more for you because I forgot. I promised Mila would ask these questions from her. So let me
Yeah.
pull those up. All right. She told me to
Well,
ask you, is it true that you have a private jet?
but I do, yeah. We have two airplanes.
Nice. Congrats on that. So I wish I had follow-up questions, but I don't. All I can do is be amazed right now. I got so many more things. We got to get you for a part two for sure. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Comment
but,
below if you want part two.
there you go. There we go. All right. And then the next one she asked was, let's see what you got here. All right. How is it being a woman to overcome, actually, excuse me, let me put it the way she put it. How is it being able to overcome being a woman from a foreign country and having the willpower to believe in yourself here in the United States?
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely have a huge imposter syndrome. But I made the pact to myself that I wouldn't be thinking what my chances are, because even when I went to law school, I was like 9 months pregnant. I didn't speak perfect English, and everybody thought I'm gonna fail. But I was like, I'm not gonna think about what my chances are. I'm just gonna do it, and I see what happens. And my general rule in life is like, if I want to do something but I'm scared, I'm thinking, are they gonna take me out and shoot me if I fail or not? And if the answer is not, then I'm doing it, right? So,
Yep.
and a lot of times it's just a matter of showing up. Like, hey, you started doing these videos and content. You just keep doing it and doing it, and you're probably one of the very few who actually keep doing it, and that's why you get better and better and better, and you have traction. Same for me. I just keep moving my feet. I just keep doing it, keep going. And yes, I'm not the smartest. I'm not like the bestest. I'm not the strongest, but I'll just keep moving my feet and see what happens.
Yeah, I love it. Miss Elena Ledoux, y'all. Thank you so much for coming on, Elena. How can we follow you on social media, YouTube, everywhere?
Sure, you can look at my name, Elena Ledoux. I have a channel. It's called Superb Maids. I have on Instagram as well, Superb Maids. I share a lot of like free tips for this business. It's not the easiest business. Yeah, but you can follow me. We can probably include. I'll give you the actual URLs for my channel,
Yep.
but then for my Instagram, it's probably going to be the easiest. But yeah, it's Superb Maids is my cleaning company, and so there's a Instagram handle will be Superb Maids, and then and my name. You'll see a Russian channel, you see English channel. If you speak Russian, you can join Russian. If you speak English, join English. So,
Nice. I love it. Thank you so much, Elena, for coming on. And we definitely got to have you back. Thank you.
of course, thank you so much.